Hey guys, it's Radiant Bruce here doing a Witcher 3 Wild Hunt review. I've played 80 hours of The Witcher 3 on my PS4, so I'm going to review the PS4 edition. So let's start this review off with The Witcher 3's world. The Witcher 3's world is truly massive. Exploring it with the Witcher Geralt himself just makes exploring The Witcher 3's world even more interesting. The Witcher 3 takes its world even further by adding a sense of hopeless dread to it. By exploring the lands of White Orchard, you'll find hanged bodies of children, while if you're exploring the seas of Skellige, you'll find forgotten bodies of people who previously were abandoned. Sure, these elements of the world are negative, but they surely make a positive impact by making The Witcher 3's world feel real. There is an exceptional amount of land variety you can find in The Witcher 3's world. There are 4 different areas which you have to fast travel between to get to. These places are called Skellige, Vizima, the White Orchard, and Kaer Morhen. Each of these areas are extremely large and are tons of fun to explore, with their own different kinds of people, cultures, and monsters. I've spent about 30 hours exploring The Witcher 3's lands and still haven't seen a third of all the places in the... Now let's get to The Witcher 3's gameplay. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt's gameplay can be simple and straightforward, or it can be more complicated in the style of how you want to fight. This is due to an extraordinary leveling system. In the beginning of The Witcher 3, Geralt has a set of magic, sword-wielding, and alchemy abilities. As you level up in The Witcher 3, you get perk points. You can spend these perk points to enhance the abilities you already have, making the combat a lot simpler, or you can use these perk points to get more abilities, which makes the combat system more complicated because this means you have to use more abilities to succeed in combat. In The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, there are 4 difficulties that are basically very easy, easy, hard, and very hard. The AIs on easy and very easy are straight up pathetic. They give you no challenge in combat and make certain abilities useless. I recommend you play on hard or very hard for a better overall experience with this game. A major part of The Witcher 3's gameplay is exploration. The fastest use of transportation is using a horse. Geralt's horse is called Roach. Roach is fun to ride, but when an obstacle faces him like a tree, he just stops and stands still, but doesn't go around the tree like he's supposed to. Once you've explored an area, you can fast travel there. This is a great feature mainly because of how massive The Witcher 3's world is. While you're on a horse in The Witcher 3, you can swing your sword at your foes. Right when you're about to swing your sword, there's this slow motion feature that helps you time your swing correctly. This feature really enhances this game's combat system. The amount of different enemy types are truly massive in this game. The variety of monsters in this game must be close to thousands. Most of the rarest monsters are found during Witcher contracts. Witcher contracts are extremely interesting side missions that are found exploring villages and looking at message boards in towns. What usually happens is a village or a group of people are having trouble with a monster. Geralt has to investigate what kind of monster it is, then kill it and collect a certain reward. There are also other kinds of side quests, such as the many treasure hunts scattered across the northern realms. In The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, the variety of loot, such as weapons, armors, and crafting materials are massive. But the amount of loot in general is pretty small. The crafting system, on the other hand, is fantastic. It gives purpose for exploring the many lands of The Witcher 3. To craft weapons, you must go to a blacksmith that makes weapons. If you want to craft armor, you have to find a person that specializes in armor. The inventory system in The Witcher 3 is not good, nor is it bad. It definitely shows all the equipment you have, but is quite lazy in separating different kinds of loot. The alchemy system in The Witcher 3 is acceptable. It does a great job of keeping brewing simple. All you have to do to create a potion is find its diagram and its needed materials. After that, you go to your alchemy system and find your potion. The only odd thing about alchemy is its potions. To refill your potions, you have to meditate. I found this odd because the better way to refill your potions would obviously be to brew the potions again. The main problem I had with The Witcher 3's gameplay would have to be the crossbow. The problems I had with the crossbow would have to be that it barely does any damage and can't shoot crossbow bolts very far. The only times I ever used my crossbow was underwater and against flying enemies, so basically when I was forced to. Next, let's get to The Witcher 3 story. The Witcher 3's greatest main aspect would have to be its story. The Witcher 3's story is about Geralt of Rivia and the newly introduced Yennefer's search for their adopted daughter Ciri. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything about this game's story, but let's just say that some crazy major plot twists happen that take you completely by surprise. One great feature about this story is that there are multiple endings that are decided by your choices, which are usually choices of dialogue. The dialogue in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is truly fantastic. It feels like dialogue a real person would say. At times, the game lets you choose what dialogue you want to say. There's usually a rude choice, a respectful choice, and a threatening choice. This feature adds a tremendous amount of life to the game's story. The characters in this game are filled with realistic personalities that makes you care about each and every character in either a positive or negative way. One of the main things The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt gets right is its graphics. From the beautiful seas of Skellige to the mesmerizing sunset of White Orchard, I truly believe that this game has some of the best graphics this year. Some of the textures in this game glitch out from time to time, but it sure doesn't happen often. The main problem I have with this game's graphics would have to be the amount of fog. There's no fog near where you are, but you can't see places about a mile away from where you are when you're in broad daylight. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt has some of the most unique audio I have ever seen in a video game. It takes fighting enemies to the next level. Sometimes when you're on the verge of death in a battle, the soundtrack in this game fills you with so much anxiety and awe that it elevates the battle to a whole new platform. There is no way for me not to say that this game's audio is breathtaking. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is filled with glitches, some more severe than others, but luckily none are game-breaking. The most severe glitch that I encountered in this game would have to be when I had to fight 5 monsters while I couldn't stop jumping. It was extremely annoying because I kept on dying over and over, and there was nothing I could do about it. There are simply too many glitches in this game that happen way too often. So after 80 hours of playing this game, I'd say it's reasonable for me to give this game a rating. I give The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt a 9 out of 10. To be honest, this game would be a 9.5 out of 10 if it wasn't for the massive amount of glitches in this game. If you enjoyed my Witcher 3 Wild Hunt review, leave a like, subscribe for more rating content, and I will see you guys next time.